My God, I've slept on this band. God damn. It's Trivium time. So if you're new here, I'm fairly new to Trivium. However, I've been giving you guys the opportunity to get me into this band. Over the last few months, we've slowly been working through some of what you guys consider to be the best Trivium songs in order to get into them. However, I'm going to be real with you guys. I am in a panic. That's because Trivium have announced that they're going to be releasing brand new music anytime soon now. And I haven't heard anything off of the last album that they put out. In the last reaction video, we took a look at some of the songs from What the Dead Man Say, which I really enjoyed. And you know, even in the moment there, I wanted to keep going after just listening to the first two tracks. So I had it in my head that I was going to move into another song from that album this week, so I'm so excited to get to some of the other songs. But with the idea of new Trivium music on the horizon, I feel like I need to at least listen to one song from the previous album, just so I can hear where they were at as a band and now where they're moving forward to. So yes, I'm fully aware that a lot of you guys were excited for more of What the Dead Men Say. So was I, and believe me, I am 100% going to be going back to that album as soon as I can. However, today, upon popular request, it is all about the Court of the Dragon. And again, this is the same situation as What the Dead Man Said, because I had no idea what to expect from that album and what it sounded like. In terms of this album, again, I've literally got no idea. However, what I do know is that there is one song in particular on this album that you guys want me to listen to, and that is the Phalanx. That song has been requested in the comments since the very beginning of this series. You guys seem to love this song a lot, so today I really want to hear what it's all about. So to begin with, I just want to give some first impressions purely from looking at the artwork, because back in the day, before music was so readily available to everybody, you know, within the click of a button, you would go into a record store or a CD shop or whatever it was, and you would, you know, you'd have a look at the artwork and you'd get drawn in by that, and you know, maybe that would motivate you to buy the album and go and listen to it. And I think it's really important to sort of hold on to that idea, especially when it's so quick and easy to just pull the song up and just play it and then completely forget about everything else, you know? So this artwork to me just screams prog. And I know in the past on certain albums, like with Shogun, they really seem to delve into the progressive side of their music. You know, this is a completely different vibe to the streamlined cover of What the Dead Men Say. You know, this has got everything. It's got dragons, it's got battles. It's very much in line with a lot of Trivium's music over the years. I think, you know, if you were to have an image that sums up all of Trivium's music, I think this pretty much does it with the whole mythical side of things. And leading on from that, there's actually two things that are interesting about the song The Phalanx itself, and that's that this is a Shogun leftover, so to speak, or a song that just wasn't quite developed, but it was written around that time. And then the other thing that was interesting to me is that this song, or at least the video, was done in partnership with Bethesda Game Studios. Now, I have been playing Elder Scrolls games since, what, like 2006 or something like that. So the first game that I played was Oblivion, and some of you guys might recognize the hand tattoo, if you can see that there, that I've had for a few months now. They've just put out the remaster of it, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really taking me back. It's a lot of nostalgia for me. The amount of hours that I sank into Oblivion and Skyrim is probably equal to the amount that I sank into guitar and music. Played those games a lot, so they've got a very sort of special place in my heart, so that's really interesting. However, this one was done for the Elder Scrolls Online, which is like their MMO, which is something that I've never played, purely because MMOs just don't really interest me, and I'm kind of like more of a core game kind of guy. However, we've got a quote from Paolo here that says, "The Phalanx was like an old muscle car sitting in the driveway with no engine." I like that. It was a demo from Shogun that had the middle section removed for another song, so that's between Scylla and Charybdis, which we've also done a reaction to. So it'd be interesting to see which riff that was. It was demoed again on Silence in the Snow and ultimately scrapped. Now that's interesting because Silence was a little bit more of a streamlined album. You know, trying to get more of a, I really don't want to say commercial, because in my opinion it wasn't. All the elements were on there minus the screaming, but they were really trying to get that whole streamlined idea, no sort of unnecessary adage onto the songs, whereas the material they were writing on Shogun was quite bombastic and in your face and progressive and long. Once we knew the album was going to be a more epic and proggy direction, There you go. I called it. I immediately thought of the song and pitched the idea to the others, with a few minor changes to some of the chorus parts, and a brand new middle section. The Phalanx was reborn. It's got a lot of new riffs and old riffs, and I think you should dig this if you liked Shogun. Unfortunately for us, we like Shogun. Am I right? I like Shogun. It was the first album that sort of turned my head and made me think, there might be something in this band for me personally as a listener. I will say that you all really seem to like your long songs, and so did Trivium. This is a 7-minute, 16 song, so it's almost going back into, well, like the song Shogun, which is a very long song, which we did a reaction to. So yeah, I think that pretty much sets us up. This is the Phalanx, this is Trivium. Let's give it a go. 7-string territory, right? Okay, I've noticed a couple of things already. Number one, we're in 7-string territory. You can really hear that low A sharp string or whatever it is they're tuned to on this one when they're hitting it. And the other thing is you can really hear Corey's lead tone with the whole eventide thing that we talked about in another video, which I've really started to gravitate toward and really enjoy. It's become sort of his signature sound. So, you know, as much as this is a different album for me, it still sounds like Trivium. All the elements are in there already. So musically speaking, it's quite interesting as well, intervallically, because the shift of the root note on the rhythm guitar is giving the lead guitar a different taste and flavor. And we talked about this with on mode play in some of the previous videos, where, you know, that first chord, it's like an open E chord, right? Or an E flat, I guess, relative to tuning, right? So the notes that he's playing, you know, the minor 6 note there in the minor scale, that's where that sense of na-na-na, that sense of urgency comes from. However, when he moves on to the B flat down the bottom, those notes are going to sort of change in their characteristic because they're, you know, the relationship has changed. They're sort of vibing off of that new root note, if you like, and that's going to give you a flat second idea, which is also known as Phrygian, okay? So it's a cool way to sort of use the same notes but change their taste and flavor just by changing the root note. Okay, so if we've got E, urgency, minor 6 to 5th, but then if we do it in with an A sharp on the bottom, gives you a Phrygian idea. So always be mindful of what the rhythm guitars are doing underneath, what the root note is, and that's always going to dictate the taste and flavor of your leads. Whoa. There's too much going on. Right. First things first, that's a cool riff. You can really hear the scrape of Matt's pick on the strings there, which gives it a real, unique characteristic that it takes on the player's identity, if you like. You can really hear him digging in with the side of the pick there on the strings. And you can also hear how, like, he's really sort of like pushing into the strings there with his palm mutes to get that really aggressive sort of sound. I've often said that Matt Heffy's playing is super tight, but in his own unique way. It's almost like the train could like spin off the track at any minute when you watch him play, and you know it's tightness in a way that I've not really heard before. He's a great rhythm guitar player, but it's just so chaotic. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's tight, but chaotic is the expression that I would use. And again, it makes this appealing to me. It's different. It's interesting. Okay, so they're doing the same idea there. They're just taking the riff that they had in the intro, but just putting a bit more of a groove into it, you know. That's like a minor 6 thing against the root, but then they modulate it down. Very, very, very cool riff right there. Okay, the vocals are back. Good. There was something lacking for me on Dead Man. Only on the one track I've heard. I'm not going to judge the whole album by that, and obviously the first track's an instrumental, right? However, there just seemed to be something a little held back, and I don't know what it was. Maybe the rest of the album's not like that. As much as I loved the song and everything like that, and how dark and vibey it was, there was just, you know, it just felt a little bit reserved in compared to what was on Sin in the Sentence. Whereas, yeah, he's back. He's going for it. This is good. It's good. Orchestration. There's just too much to take in. Far too much to take in. This is more like watching a film than listening to a song. Now, I know there's a music video to go along with it, and a lot of you might be annoyed that I'm not watching that, especially because it's got like the Elder Scrolls thing going on with it. I know, I get it. I will watch that. But upon a first listen of a song, I just want to be able to take that in, maybe with the album artwork, but without some video sort of dictating how I should be feeling about it. I know sometimes it adds to it, do not get me wrong, but like I just really want to take it in and just use my ears. That chorus was absolutely huge, and that guitar solo, as always, Corey delivers the goods, right? Yeah, there's far too much to take in. Gonna keep going. That is the best I've heard him yelling. That's like everything he's worked for through all the ups and downs of his vocal journey and stuff like that. That to me sounds like that's the fruits of his labor, you know. I imagine this far into his career, what album is this? Album number 10? You know, if you were sat in the studio and you lay that down, you know, and you came through and you sat yourself down and played that back, you would sit back in your chair and go, I've done it. I've done it. I've got it. That's, yeah, I'd be super proud of that. That's really, really good. So this is the new chorus. Really dig the chord progression there. Very, very dark, and you can see how well that Trivium's music is so rooted in classical movements, if you like, especially with the harmonic minor thing. We talk about this in every video. It's there. Well, it's not a secret anymore. It's not the secret ingredient. It's just the ingredient, you know? But it's still impactful. I mean, listen to how epic that chorus is, yeah? You know, and that chord modulation there, it's dying for a little bit of tension and release, right? And that's the role that major chord plays. See how it just lends itself to the genre so well. But that's a very big epic chorus for them. This song seems to have everything. I really hope you guys are enjoying this Trivium reaction, and if you're having a good time, here's your quick reminder to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new here. Also, I want to take a quick moment to mention my Bullet for My Valentine guitar lesson library, which is over on my Patreon page. If you've fallen prey to bad Bullet for My Valentine tabs in the past, and there's a little bit of confusion there, and you want to learn their songs properly, head over to my Bullet for My Valentine guitar lesson library, which is over on my Patreon page. This is my ever-growing series of Bullet for My Valentine guitar lessons, where I break down all their songs and teach you all the guitar parts. Members of the library can also request what songs I do, so if you head on over there and you don't see the song that you want to learn, get yourself signed up, put your request in, and you'll get full priority on what I do. The lessons are also available for one-off purchase on my Patreon shop as well, so you can just buy the lessons outright rather than signing up monthly if that's what you prefer. Members also get access to the isolated stems for each song that I do, so that's guitars, bass, drums, and vocals. They also have access to my quick lessons series, which are more general guitar lessons where I share my love for guitar theory and other things. So yeah, this is 100% the best way that you can support this channel, other than hitting like and subscribe, of course. So if you want some Bullet for My Valentine guitar lessons, they're in-depth and as accurate as I can possibly get them, head over to my Bullet for My Valentine guitar lesson library and see what's over there. Okay. Now that's very Shogun. Listen to how the bass, Paolo's really pushing it there. Ba, 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 ba. He's really pushing the rhythm forward there, which is why it's got that sort of jarring feel to it. But that riff, from what I remember, that is yeah, that's Shogun 101 right there. Let me listen to that again. That's good. I say good a lot, I know, but I'm not gonna say it's bad, am I? So I think I'm hearing harmonic minor again. There he is. It's just that last note right there. That's a really cool riff, isn't it? So you got like octave, minor 6, perfect 5th, minor 3rd, perfect 2nd, major 7, resolve, tension, right? God damn, what a cool riff. Okay, it's... Well, I've been playing with this whole E to B idea right the way through, or E flat to B flat, whatever it is, but that came out of nowhere. Dying, you guys hearing these vocals? Seriously, I think you should all really check this song out if you get the chance. It's, you know, you guys are sleeping, you know, you really need to hear this. My God, I feel so late to this. So where are they going to go next? Anyway, we'll talk about that later. My God, I've slept on this band. God damn. Whoa. No. I'm sorry. We're not done there yet. That's... That's meant. There's the Chromaticism from the Hungarian minor scale that we talked about in the last reaction video. If you want to know about that, go watch the last one. Whoa, this is oh man, the vocals. Gosh, he's come so far. He's come so far. You know what? I will let you guys in on a little secret. I was worried about this album. Like, genuinely. I was worried about it. Like, I don't know why. Maybe I just wasn't roped in by the album cover, and I know you think like, why? You know, it's epic. Yeah, but there's a lot going on there, and it's very different. You know, I don't think they've got an album art that quite looks like that, and it just everything just felt different. But again, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover. I don't know, but I was worried about this one after hearing "Sin in the Sentence." You know, some of those songs on there, I was thinking, how much better does it get? And Dead Men, sounds very promising for sure. Do not get me wrong. But I don't know. I was just worried about this one, but there's nothing to be worried about. Matt and the gang have got it. That's so aggressive. It's very Dream Theater. That's what I'm hearing is the diminished. So the whole idea with diminished, for the most part, is 1 minor third and flat 5, okay? And that's, you know, the flat 5. It's the root of all ugliness, right? You know, so if you put that in with a minor third, which is already quite ominous, na na na, you know, that's where you're going to get that sort of chaotic sound from, if you like. But that is one very ugly riff, especially with like the chromatics in there as well. I'm probably not playing that right, but that's sort of what I'm hearing. Yeah, very, very dark. This whole bridge section is arguably like the heaviest I've heard Trivium. Like, stupidly heavy. But the other thing is, like, I don't really like progressive music. I don't enjoy Dream Theater, Rush, you know, name your band. I'm just not into it. Not really into riffs that you can't nod your head to, you know, and you have to basically have a master's in math in order to get down with it. And Trivium manages to get the progressive vibe in there without it being too much. Like, when it hits like a sledgehammer, but it's done in such a tasteful way that it doesn't lose the listener, you know? So yeah, This is incredible. Wow. There it is again, and resolve. That's really cool. Nice. Wow. By no means is this the end of the Trivium journey, because I've got loads to go back and get through. However, now I've pretty much heard something from every album, and definitely feel more prepared for what's next. I feel like if I'd have done Dead Man and then skipped this album, and then let's say they drop the song this week, the new stuff, and then listen to that, I'd have missed out on like a huge important chapter, and a very important record. I don't know if the rest of the album's like that, but what a callback that must have been for Trivium fans who've been there since Ascendancy or before, you know. And the Shogun album came and did what it did, and what a callback this song must have been for those fans who love Shogun, because the elements are on there, the 7-string guitar is on there, the progressiveness, the riffs, and then it's got that bridge section which has got that really cool sort of high fret riff, which is a super big callback to that album in my opinion, and just the vibe. And it kind of takes me back actually to listening to some of those songs just recently. You know, I was able to hear the vibe straight away, you know, and I love how this song, it just kept showing its head, you know, for the guys. It's like, okay, we've tried here, didn't work. Try on this album, didn't work, you know, but it kept coming back, and they must have felt like there was something there, you know? And there definitely was. And I'm so glad that it did take the time that it took in order to become this monstrosity of a 7-minute, 16-minute song. There was just so much to take in, you know? I'm just thinking back on like what the drums were doing then, like absolutely frantic, and the way the bass was like pushing some of those sections as well. Man, I've got so much Trivium to get through. Somebody made the comment that it's these 3 last albums where Trivium really seemed to find their stride, you know, find where they are, all starting with this in the sentence. I agree, you know, everything just seems to be so strong, but you can see how sort of taken back by this song I am. It's interesting to me because long songs, you know, we've talked about this, they're hard to do in this day and age. You know, when everybody wants 3-minute singles and stuff like that. And I've even found myself, you know, just with the mindset of the way the world's gone and stuff, everything just needs to be quick and in and out. I've even found myself being less sort of drawn toward the longer songs. For instance, the last Metallica album. Oh man, what a grind. And you know, Metallica's like my favorite band ever, but those songs were unnecessarily long. If they'd have just trimmed them down, you know, into like little hardwireds or whatever, it would have been more impactful, I think. But some of those songs were unnecessarily stretched out. I really felt it. That album is an album that I just couldn't sit down and listen front to back because it's so much of the same going round and round. Whereas this just didn't feel like a 7-minute song. It didn't, you know. Everything was paced. The writing, of course, it's there. We can strip it down all we like to, oh, well, this is harmonic minor, and, you know, and then they change the root note and it goes to whatever it does. And we can do that, you know, and some of you guys enjoy that, and I enjoy that, and I will always do that because that's sort of like the angle that I like to take with these reaction videos. I like to, you know, appreciate the musicianship. But oh my God, if you can step away from that for a minute and just take that song in for what it was. You know, and that's the last thing we've heard as well, I think. You guys correct me if I'm wrong there. It's the last song on the album. So since 2021, this is what they left us with, or you guys with. I'm new here. You know, this is what we were left with. So where are they going to go next? Are they going to carry on with this, or are they going to reinvent themselves? I know somebody said they've gone back to the Ascensi vibe. Okay. That might manifest in the riffs and stuff like that, but let's think about production. Are they going to keep this sort of production with like the orchestral vibe, you know, and go back into those thrashy riffs? Are they going to keep the long songs, or are they going to dial it back? I'm really interested to see what is coming next. And the cool thing is, you guys don't know either. You know, because at the end of all these reaction videos, you know, I've had comments saying, oh, the next album you're going to hear this, and then the album after that you'll hear this, you know. Whereas we're all in the unknown now. You know, correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't think there's been anything in between then and now. Okay, I feel relieved now because I feel like I can go back and take my time and pick out some of the songs that you guys have asked for. We are going to go back and do the Defiant. You know, we are going to go back and revisit some of those songs on the Sin and the Sentence. We are going to go back and revisit some of the songs on Shogun. I'm going to go back and listen to Strife on Vengeance Falls because that's the one song that apparently is palatable on that album, dare I say, for some people. So I've saved it because I know you guys want me to hear it and watch me react to it. However, this album, I'm very, very intrigued by, just as much as Dead Men. So I think before I touch any more of this, I definitely want to see it through on Dead Men first, and then Let's see how we feel. You guys let me know how you feel in the comments. You know, where do you want me to go next? So, yeah, wow, what a song, The Phalanx. We finally got to it. That song has been in my comments since the very beginning, and I'm so happy that we got here. And yeah, you guys do not disappoint. What a great suggestion. Thank you all so much. So, I guess at this point, that's the video. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you're new here. If you want guitar lessons from me, check out my Patreon page. If you want one-to-one sessions with me, the email link is down in the description. And yeah, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much. if you've made it this far into the video. That said, this has been Trivium. You guys have been incredible. I've been Niles92, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.